Welcome. I am Ernie Goss, research economist with AIM of Des Moines. And today I'm here to report the WFI, that's Workforce Index for the state of Iowa, produced by AIM of Iowa, AIM of Des Moines. And what is the Workforce Index? The Workforce Index is the number of online job openings divided by the number of unemployed in the state of Iowa. Now that's the number of online job openings in Iowa divided by the number of unemployed in Iowa. Of course, the higher the index, the better. More openings relative to unemployment. So this number ranges between 0 and 100. Of course, and I shouldn't say of course. When at 50 we count as growth neutral. The index has been very strong for Iowa since we began recording these numbers in May of this year. Now, we release these numbers the workforce index the second Tuesday of each month. Now the index for Iowa, wow, it's just really strong. For August it moved from 81.7 to 83.2. Obviously that's very good, even if you're talking about your biology grade, and this is not your biology grade. We count anything 50 to 60 is pretty good, so 83.2 is obviously good. Iowa was fifth in the nation, fifth best in the nation for July. It was the fifth best in the nation for August. Obviously, that's quite good. The job market, I'll call it the online job market, is healthy and improving. So where are the jobs? Where are the online jobs for the state of Iowa? Management, a lot of management jobs out there. Secondly, sales, got a lot of sales jobs. And third area where the aggregate number of online job listings, customer service positions. Now when we take that and divide by the number of employed, in other words, this is relative to the size of those employed in the industry, where are the best areas for job openings? Number one in the state of Iowa, finance. Now other states that we look at, that's a pretty good growing area for other areas also. Engineering, which of course is tied to, in a lot of cases, manufacturing and tied to other leading economic indicators, so that's good for Iowa. Finally, in auto repair and services, with the automobile industry, of course, expanding, of course, all these recalls. You've got all these recalls by General Motors and even Ford and some others. You've got a lot of job openings there for auto repair and auto services, not just the repair, but other areas of the automobile sector. Now here you'll see the graph over the workforce index over the last 4 months, and you see it's very strong. It was strong in May. You see it's strong in June, July, and August. Now the top states for the workforce index, number one was North Dakota. Now that's been number one every month since we began releasing our workforce index in May. South Dakota coming in at number two. Of course, what we've got there, well, I shouldn't say of course, what we're talking about is a lot to do with energy. Third is Minnesota coming in at number three, Iowa number four, and then Kansas number five. So let me retrace. I said Iowa had come in it was at number 5. It's actually moved to number 4. So it was 5th in July, 4th in August. Sorry for that earlier mistake of mine. The bottom states in the U.S. Number 50, Mississippi. Number 49, Maine. Number 48, California. Number 47, New York. Number 46, Alabama. So got a little bit of a grouping there. In other words, the top states up in the Great Plains, what the Census Bureau categorizes as Great Plains, are what we call sometimes the Mid-America area. A lot of good area there, and then like on the flip side, Alabama and Mississippi not so good. Now, going forward, what are some things that you need to keep an eye on, at least from an economist standpoint, and I would argue for a business person or a consumer? Look for the Case-Shiller Home Price Index. I'd like to see that number coming down. It's growing unsustainable pace, but it is coming down. That's good news. What's the construction numbers that's coming out from the Census Bureau? We need to see that move upward. It's slowing down. Housing starts not strong enough. We need to see it a little stronger there. Watch wage growth. What's the wage growth? Which that number comes out on generally the first Friday of every month from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We need to see it move above, say, something stronger than what we're seeing right now. Right now we're seeing 1.5 maybe. Last month it was 1 penny. 1.5% to 2. That's still on the weak side. We need to see it. I would argue between 2 and 3%. That's I would say is a sweet spot. Even if it got to 3.5, even above 3 is a little concern on the inflation front. But what's that number? The CPIs, Consumer Price Indices, for the month of August and September. Those will be released on September the 17th and October the 22nd. Look for a number, the monthly number growing between 0.2% and 0.3%. It gets outside that range, that's a little bit of a problem if it's sustained, meaning above 0.3% or below 0.2%. Meaning deflation on the bottom side, of course, inflation on the top side. That's a concern. Purchasing Management Indices comes out the first business day of the month. That's October the 1st. That's the number. Keep an eye on that. And the Q3 GDP number on October the 30th. Now, what are the risk factors? What should you be concerned about? Now, a lot of times we don't know until it actually happens, what we call a black swan, something with a high cost but low probability. Well, let me go for those areas that are probably more likely could occur. Higher inflation, that is a concern. Even higher or lower inflation, or potentially deflation or disinflation, I should say. Inflation numbers year over year moving below 1%. That would be a real problem. Moving above 3%, a real problem. Housing market, keep an eye on that. As I said, the Census Bureau numbers coming out. Oil prices bouncing above $100 a barrel. Now that'll only come about from supply disruptions. Demand is just not strong enough to push oil prices above $100 a barrel. Trade embargoes, a real issue. Now I know many of you are saying we don't trade much if we have a trade embargo on Russia, and we are putting trade restrictions in place for Russia. But the fact is it spreads. We place trade restrictions on them, they retaliate, then some of their military partners, some of their political partners likewise do the same, and it spreads. That is a risk factor. And finally, Europe. Europe is potentially moving back into recession, may be in fact in a recession. That affects us because we sell goods. There are goods sold from Iowa to Europe, and of course that is an issue. But importantly, what happens is they reduce the value of their currency, that would be the euro. It tends to raise the value of our currency, which creates real problems for Iowa businesses. That's Iowa businesses linked to agriculture. As the value of the dollar increases, exporters have a tougher time of it. Agriculture has a tougher time of it. So that's something we need to keep an eye on is Europe. So that's it, folks. It was a pretty good economic report for the month of August. Here we are on the second Tuesday of the month. I'm Ernie Goss with AIM of Iowa, and I'm a research economist with AIM of Iowa. Until we meet again here the second Tuesday of October, between now and then, may your economic cup runneth over. Thank you.